Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, in his final address says Africa's future depends on working together to tackle challenges such as terrorism, piracy, cyber warfare, and armed banditry. The summit, which ended in Abuja, stressed the importance of intelligence sharing, border security, indigenous defense technologies, and sustainable financing as crucial to safeguarding Africa's stability. Participants adopted a communiqué committing to regional partnerships, signed an MOU for an international defense exhibition in 2026, and pledged to translate summit discussions into actionable national and regional policies. General Musa, who hosted the summit, described unity as Africa's greatest weapon. Let's get some further update. My colleague who has been on the summit ground, Sage Ibrahim, is here to give a recap of the three-day event. Sage, thank you for keeping tabs on this very crucial summit. Could you do a quick recap for us, highlighting the items that stood out for you?
Good evening, Felicity. Thank you so much for having me. I'll first start by stating the Chief of Defense Staff of Nigeria's final comments to his colleagues from the different African countries who honored his invitation here. He mentioned that our borders may divide us, but our destiny binds us. He added also that a secure Africa is a prosperous Africa, and a prosperous Africa is a beacon to the world. The theme of the summit is combating contemporary threats to regional peace and security in Africa, the role of strategic defense collaboration. One thing that you would hear consistently and continuously at this conference is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. The need for Africa's military to collaborate in order to face its common enemy, which is threats by unscrupulous criminal elements, terrorists, bandits, pirates, and the likes of that, which has continued to bedevil the African continent for the longest time. Key focus of the discussion, like I mentioned at the beginning, strategic collaboration in terms of intelligence sharing, joint training, and also investment in indigenous technologies, because they stress on the need to focus on local solutions in addressing local problems. One of the key issues that they had mentioned is how difficult it has been, especially with regards to importing some of what they would describe as solutions to their problems, which also includes, of course, hardware and military equipment. Some of them had mentioned how difficult it has been, especially in terms of servicing this equipment, among many other issues. The need for generating local solutions, local manufacturing capabilities to address Africa's local threats was re-emphasized more than enough times here. They went on to talk about border security because, of course, you know, an unsecure border can only lead to terrorism and also corruption, moving from one border, one nation's border, of course, to yours. The conversation went on to talk about the need for counter-radicalization strategies and also intelligence sharing. Another area of conversation was on technology and innovation, because this time they stressed on the need to adopt AI in addressing contemporary challenges. This, of course, many of those who were here spoke on, especially because they have agreed that, yes, technology is changing, times are changing, threats have become digital, and the only way to address this is to set up early warning mechanisms, most of which can only be made possible by adopting AI and, of course, adopting technology. Conversation went on, of course, to defense financing and also self-reliance. One thing that we know about this collaboration is it's going to be large, it's going to be huge, it's going to be sharp, but it's also going to be expensive. So, of course, the need to rally resources, the need to rally, to collaborate among one another, and of course, with the aim, of getting to self-reliance was stressed, of course, more times as the event went on. Maritime security was also another area that was focused on, because, of course, as you know, Africa's trade routes also include its sea and also its water bodies. And if it is not safe, the issue of piracy continues to rear its ugly head. Recommendations and resolutions ended up with the adoption of a communiqué, which was read out to representatives of Chief of Defense Staff and also Chief of Defense Staff from African countries that were here present. We also went on to sign an MOU, of course, for a defense exhibition, which is expected to hold in Lagos. This is supposed to provide another platform for the defense chiefs and also military officers from across Africa to come in and to learn from each other, see what other African counterparts are doing in terms of innovation in defense and military hardware. And of course, finally, translate the summit to action. It is not enough to just have conversations that last 3 days and talk about the issues continuously. One has to see this conversation move from the mere talks that they are to action. And this is the reason why they are saying it is important and it is necessary for forums like this to continue so that they can come back, reassess their strategy, and of course, redeploy new ones in order to address Africa's continuous threat and also meet it up using contemporary military strategies. Back to you in the studio, Felicity.
Zagie, I mean, you were quite exhaustive with the recap of events. I actually wanted to ask you this question. I will ask you. I know we're time pressed, but the summit, one of the recap was a pledge to translate the summit discussions into actionable national and regional policies. Did you take note of that particular statement? Were there, aside from the pledge, were there actions that inspires confidence that this will not end up a talk shop? We hear that all the time.
Well, Felicity, a key thing to note here is the plenary sessions were made to accommodate just the defense chief, their representatives, security experts. It was limited to media coverage. And of course, this would only mean that they want their strategies to be the knowledge of these strategies to be limited to those who is concerned. So as far as we know that they seem not to be joking about this situation. They seem to be ready and willing to collaborate. They seem to be ready and willing to partner with each other, talk to each other, learn from each other, especially those who are making stride in the area of security and whichever stride it is that they are making. So what I can say here is they've made the call, they've talked tough. What we can do is wait for the next conference to hold, and when the next summit holds, we can then do a comprehensive review of what this summit put out and whether they were able to achieve any form of progress or not.
Yeah, please go catch your needed rest. Thank you for the coverage. I'll speak later.